Hi guys, welcome to What About, a series of short reviews for new releases. So, what about A Game of Dwarves? Released this week by Paradox Interactive and developed by Swedish company Zeal Game Studio, A Game of Dwarves is a real-time strategy and resource management game. Any of you familiar with titles such as Dungeon Keeper will already be familiar with this subgenre. To put it simply, you take indirect control of a clan of dwarves. You assign them tasks from exploring, expanding and gathering resources, building new facilities, furniture and decorations, to training soldiers and building traps for both defence and mob clearing. The game has a sandbox mode with randomly generated maps, as well as a series of campaign missions to introduce you to the game mechanics by challenging you to complete various main and secondary objectives. The graphics aren't going to win any prizes, but they do work well for the game. They reminded me quite a lot of old Bullfrog game classics like Theme Park and Theme Hospital. They're bright, colourful and cartoony, but sadly there isn't much variation in the rooms, objects and the dwarves themselves, and visually you'll see all that the game has to offer within about the first 30 minutes or so. I did notice several graphical glitches and animation bugs, such as moonwalking dwarves, and while these weren't game breaking, they did make me feel like I was playing another unfinished beta. The graphic options are limited to choosing your screen resolution and the basic low, medium and high options. One thing that did bother me was a lack of vertical sync. Even on my high spec machine there was a lot of screen tearing. The sound design is relatively basic and uninspired. The sound effects serve their purpose, they're very cartoony to match the graphic style, and a Settlers vibe was noticeable throughout. The musical tracks are quite enjoyable at first, some of them are even a little relaxing. Sadly, a lack of tracks and a short runtime will soon lead to muting the music as the tracks just loop over and over. The voice acting is also a mixed bag. One or two of the voice actors do at least try to emulate a stereotypical Scottish dwarven accent, while other characters sound like they called the janitor into the recording booth to reel off a few lines. As for the gameplay, I've always been a fan of this genre, so I went into A Game of Dwarves with a very open mind. The tutorial is presented to you in two ways. Firstly as a short in-game encyclopedia listing all of the icons, their function and basic gameplay, which you are encouraged to read first. Then secondly, a series of tutorial missions which are designed to get you eased into the game mechanics. I found that latter was somewhat frustrating as I was often left guessing what I had to do next. This was made worse by several bugs which prevent or delay the next part of quest text from being given to you after the previous objective has been completed. This led to time wandering around aimlessly, waiting for the game to realise I'd completed what I'd been asked to do and throw me a damn bone. Unlike the aforementioned Dungeon Keeper, A Game of Dwarves is built on layers. This system allows not only for building an expansion out in every direction, but also building up and down. Unfortunately, the way you move the camera up and down through these levels often made it difficult to see which level I was interacting with, meaning a lot of trial and error when trying to dig out certain areas. The game just didn't feel like it had any pace to me, and while you can speed the game up, I felt like I spent a lot of time just sitting playing with the camera, waiting for things to be built or dug. This, along with those bugs that stop progression, soon turned from mild frustration to boredom. One such objective was being shown, an area to dig behind a locked door. However, at no point was I told how to open that door, and the interact tool, which according to the in-game manual is how you unlock doors, just refused to work. I was expecting more from this game, but sadly it just feels dated. I can look past the old school cartoony graphics as it just adds character, but for me the game lacks any real content. While I am sure there are those of you out there who will be content with the simplicity of this game, it left me wanting, and after a couple of hours I felt like I had seen everything the game had to offer. Once the initial bugs and teething issues have been sorted, this will be an entertaining casual game in small doses. For its price tag, it's a reasonable purchase, but it feels like it will be more at home on a mobile phone or tablet than a PC release. My verdict? If you enjoy casual sandbox games to pass your time, and you can look past the game's simplicity, then for the price it's definitely worth a look. However, if you prefer more of a challenge, variety and complexity, then you'll probably end up disappointed. Either way, I'd wait until the bugs have been fixed for a more enjoyable experience.